So that is the basis of a discussion this morning with our panelists here in studio. Election and security, election preparedness. And we have with us this morning, as I mentioned earlier, if you're joining us this morning, we have Professor Midamba, who is the Vice Chancellor of KNCHR University. Also, is an expert on defense and foreign policy. Also, we have George Morara, who is the Vice Chair of Kenya National Human Rights Commission. Also, we have with us Apollos Machira. Dr. Apollos Machira is a criminologist from Egerton University. Wanderi, Captain Collins Wanderi, is an advocate of the High Court and also a security analyst. And also we have Charles Owino with us, who is a spokesperson of the police. A very good morning to you, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
We should have something there. We have plenty of tea there. So feel free to just ask for some tea. I'll serve you this morning. Right, but let's just begin from where Chebukati was talking about the election arrangement security program that was launched yesterday by the IBC. And of course, this is a multi-agency cooperation in regard to making sure that we have a peaceful general election this year. And we'll love to hear, especially from the police, because also you're very key critical component when it comes to security as well. How prepared are we? Learning from the primaries that we just had.
I think as a service, we are quite prepared for this election. These elections have history, and many a times the spot is on us.
Yes.
Because we are expected to be non-partisan and secure the voters and secure the electoral process. So I can say that, for example, for the project that you saw, which was being launched yesterday, this is a project that we started in 2013. And 2012, 2013, we had a very short time compared to this time. It's a project that has been funded by donors, and it is managed by the UNDP basket. So starting from this week, we are going to train about 180,000 officers, both from National Police Service, Criminal Investigations Department, and IBC and special police officers that will be involved in the training. So I can say that we are quite prepared and ready for the coming general elections. And you know we have a huge task ahead of us, especially during the campaign period. And after the campaign period, we also have a task to secure the ballot papers, to secure the polling stations, to secure the counting and the announcement of results. And also we must be prepared for, we must be prepared that there can be a rerun, and we must be able to also carry forward in case there's a rerun. And on top of it, after the elections, we will also be ready to tackle any situation that may arise, because post-election also has its management process. So I can say we are fully prepared.
You're fully?
Yes, but I think we will discuss more as the debate carries on.
All right. Okay, let's hear from George Morara as well. Yeah. How prepared are we? I think the last time we were here also we were talking about election preparedness, and of course we have developments going by what we saw yesterday with the election arrangement security program just launched by the IBC, and it's a pity that we didn't have any official from the IBC. We tried reaching out to them, but of course the person who was meant to come fell ill, so he's feeling poorly, couldn't make it this morning.
Yeah. Debarl, thank you so much. Let me start by saying why even security is important in this election, or any other election for that matter. One of the hallmarks of a free, fair, credible election is that security plays a very central role. Security is important because the electoral contestants must be able to sell their policies and campaign in an environment where they are not intimidated. The voters should be able to make informed decisions in casting their vote without any fear of retribution. All the other actors, the civil society, the observers, and any other actors in the electoral process must also be assured that once they participate in the electoral process, then there is no retribution they're going to suffer. So generally, it's important for us to understand as a basis of this discussion why security is important. But going forward then, for me, I think as a country, we've had challenges, especially when it comes to issues of managing security. It's important for us to actually look at our history, look at the challenges we've had in the past, and then try to see whether we have put in place mechanisms to respond to that. We can't forget what happened in 1992. A lot of Kenyans were disenfranchised because of lack of security. In 1997, a lot of Kenyans were disenfranchised because of lack of security. The worst was in 2007. A lot of Kenyans were disenfranchised because of lack of security. Therefore, I cannot really overemphasize the importance of security. But from a commission's perspective, there are challenges that we will be sharing as this discussion goes forward, because like I said when I was here the other time, we have established an election monitoring hub, and there are certain things that are coming out that I will share in the course of this discussion.
All right. Let's hear from Captain Collins Wanderi.
Yeah, thank you, Debarl. I like the assurance from Mr. Charles Owino that the police service is ready. It's good to hear that from him directly. But on the other hand, we must ask ourselves, when we talk about election security, whose security are we talking about? Is it the security of the voters or the security of the candidates? Now, for a long time in this country, the focus on elections, particularly since multi-party elections, has been focused on the security of the candidates themselves. You're going to see a lot of police resources deployed to guard contestants and not the voters. Yet elections are supposed to be about the voters and not the contestants. However, going forward, one of the things that we have consistently seen this year is commitment, or rather engagement, of the National Police Service with the IEBC, and to a certain extent the National Cohesion and Integration Commission on matters of elections. And we've seen these three players every now and then assure the public that they are ready for the forthcoming election. If you look carefully at the way the coalitions have been lined up, you're talking of perhaps the most competitive elections since independence. And you're talking of elections that are likely to go to a hanger cliff or even go for a runoff. That is very likely. And therefore, it is very, very important. It is not just about putting, and Mr. Owino knows this, it's not just about putting boots on the ground. It's also addressing the voters themselves and addressing the main candidates, because there's one thing, the commitment they must make. If you look at both sides, there's a lot of grandstanding. We can't lose. I can't lose. My side must win. And this is something the police must, or rather the organizations I have mentioned, IEBC, National Police Service, and the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, as well as George Morara's Kenya National Human Rights Commission, must constantly remind the public that your candidate may and could lose, and you have a duty to maintain peace whether your candidate loses. So that would be my focus, that we rechange the focus from guarding contestants to guarding the public and educating the public that the voters that and supporters and fanatical supporters on either side of the political divide, that their candidate could lose and they have a duty to maintain peace and order.
Thank you. Dr. Apollos Machira.
I personally don't think that IEBC is prepared for these elections. You know, we have 2 weeks to go for official campaigns to start. When official campaign starts, it's all madness. A lot of shouting, a lot of noise. And for 60 days, we shall be subjected for a lot of noise. So I hope there will be a code of conduct where we control some spaces. Our schools will be going on. We shall be continuing in our universities. Our churches will continue on Sundays. Yet the screams and the shouting is uncontrollable. IEBC is now transferring their staff, the 47 county returning officers, the constituency returning officers. They are now being transferred 2 weeks, 2 weeks to campaigns. IEBC has not resolved the issue of biometric voter registration. We still do not know what will happen. We still do not know about the tallying centers, where it will be at the presidential level here in Nairobi or at the constituency level. because the opposition is still grappling with that argument. In previous elections, because I also belong to the civil society, there used to be a lot of civil voter education for members of the public to be educated on what happens. This time round, the civil society organizations were gagged by the present government. So IEBC has not been able to train voters on what to expect, especially now with a lot of independent candidates. So people are confused. The police are training their staff. That is okay. The IEBC staff are also supposed to be trained on security management, but they haven't been taught this time. I don't know where the money went. I don't know how disorganized IEBC has been. So I see a lot of confusion because voter education for my mother is not there. They do not understand all these parties and the mergers of parties and the Political Parties Act, the IEBC Act. You know, so for me, I see a lot of unpreparedness because you remember that time when we had those kids which got expelled the same day. They have not given us an assurance that this time round they'll go. So I think Chebukati, or whomever he is not prepared. So I think Kenyans, we need to come to think together, chart a way forward where we have no conflicts. Because when there is unpredictability, like the present nomination exercises in all the political parties, we saw a lot of unpreparedness and we saw a lot of confusion. So if this takes us now to the new elections, people will be very, you know, there will be a lot of interpersonal conflict between persons.
Thank you. Professor Midamba.
Debarl, as I say in the past, Sir Winston Churchill described democracy as the worst form of government, except for others that have been tried. Let me say this. For our democracy to work, we have to believe in ourselves. And the three things that must happen to every single citizen in Kenya. Number one is awareness. What's going on? Who's running? Who's saying what? What instruments are being applied to create peace and bring reconciliation? And secondly, we need a high level of citizen participation. I'm very pleased to watch that some of the people who are parading their richness are being defeated. And people who have been part of the system for a long time are also being defeated. Lastly, each citizen have to take responsibility. Responsibility to report any person who is either corrupting the system or manipulating the system to the police department and all other people who are responsible for keeping peace in this country. I listened the other day to the executive director of IBC, and I want to disagree with Apollo a little bit. IBC is prepared. They have enough kits to serve the country, except I agree with Apollo that there need to be more information to the citizen who are out there in the outlying area who doesn't know what's going on. We need to work together. The universities right now has joined together with the police department, the National Chamber of Commerce, the inter-religious community, in order to bring peace and understanding in this country. People, 1991, 2007, we lost over 250,000 people who are dead. We lost 560,000 people who were displaced. We destroyed billions of worth of goods in this country. This cannot continue. We know right now that 19 million have registered to vote in Kenya. We also know that 60% of those are between the age of 18 to 35. This is going to bring the first election were unknown. Well, a lot of changes are going to happen, and some of the people who are spending a lot of money are going to be defeated. Let them accept the defeat and go and do something else with their life.
Thank you.
It's okay.
All right, let's hear from, going by what we saw also from the primaries, because we had people also taking special umbrage with the police service, that some of the officials also were, you know, lining up with some of the aspirants on the ground. And I know this information that you are aware about.
It's okay. I think you'll give me a bit of time. Before I get into the primaries,
yes,
I would like to comment on election security arrangement project. It is not an ordinary arrangement. This is not a training for the police only. This is a multi-agency training. And we have been preparing for almost 2 years, and we have come up with manuals that we are going to use for training. We are starting this training at the county level and going to the constituency and the ward level. At the county level, we will have the county returning officers. You know, IBC has moved from regions, and they have posted their officers now to counties. And now they have 47 county electoral officers. So at the county level, we will have the county electoral officers, together with the county police officers, both CID, NIS, and administration police and Kenya Police. They will be trained on the electoral process, and they will be also be trained on the electoral laws, and more so the public order management. I remember somebody, you talked, Daktari talked about noise and disorder and so on. The purpose of the public order management is to ensure that when you are supposed to have your campaigns, we need an organized campaign structure from all political parties and all candidates, where you have to notify us at least 3 days before, and not more than 14 days, that I'm going to use this avenue, I'm going to have a procession on this route, so that we don't have persons who are competing using the same podium unnecessarily, or their supporters conflicting when they are having their processions. So this is what we are looking at under the public order management and the electoral arrangement project. Remember that we want the police and the IBC officials to work on the same breath, and to ensure that, for example, you find that when the election, the ballot papers come, we have to receive them from the airport, escort them to the warehouses, secure them, and distribute them up to the ward level, the polling centers, and ensure that they are secured in those particular places. And equally, the time that we are carrying out the vote, the officers and the IBC officials must be conversant of the procedures to ensure that every person has a right to vote, and also ensure that the vote is carried out appropriately. Remember, we still have some illiterate people, and there are procedures, so that you don't let somebody say, I want to vote so and so, and the aide votes a different person. So we are organized and prepared to train on all these issues, and we have time to do that. Remember, government has also injected quite a lot of money on the electoral process, and I want to assure you that you need to put more energy on these candidates, and more so the persons who appear to be rogue. You need to talk more to them, and I believe there will be a bit of voter education. But on our part and IBC, in terms of coordination, to ensure that things are done in order, we have done that. Now, Morara said that lack of security. There's never been lack of security. The problem is maybe how we manage ourselves. And we cannot go out there to start telling people that your candidates could lose. Remember, separating the police from the executive, especially when we are running, is very difficult, because the police is the tool of the executive. The moment we start raising issues that your candidates may lose, it is very possible that the opposition will have problems with us and start telling us that we are preparing them that they will lose. So we can't mention whether you are going to lose or not. It's common knowledge. But we have to secure the country and we have to secure the candidate.